Again, good evening and welcome to your lead portal provider training. We're so excited to have you with us today. We are now in phase 3 of our project. What that really means to you is we are going to be rolling out some new features for you tonight. So again, my name is Peter Callahan and I am here with Lynn Philpott, as well as Donna Cohen-Avery and Doss Nobel are in the background helping us out today. They'll be coming on board when we start to answer questions later on. And again, we're excited to have you with us to get going on this next step of the journey. And we're really excited to be working with you with this new system. It's going to be a lot of things that we'll cover today. And some of you are already in the system, some haven't started using it yet, but today's goal is really to start to get you comfortable with this new system. So you don't need to feel like you need to be an expert today. We've got a lot of ways that we're going to support you, and I'll kind of talk through those for you as well as we go through. So there's also going to be additional training sessions after. So all these features that you're going to see today, expect your portal to have those features available right around March 21st. That's what's going to happen. But like I was saying, there's going to be additional training sessions after that go live via webinars like this. And we're planning to hold town hall style question and answer sessions with you in your regional offices in late April and early May. So if you want to, if you're having trouble getting used to the system, we're going to welcome you to come in, ask questions, see some demonstrations of how to use the system. So we really want to be here to support you. So really, again, we're excited to launch this new portal and the features that are going to allow you to complete most of your licensing transactions. So this release just has some more features compared to the previous one, and we're going to cover all of those today. Really what we're going to spend a lot of time today on is a renewal application. So we'll take you through that. But here's kind of agenda for what we're going to be working on today. So I'll show you some of the training dates. We do have a few other trainings available just like today. This session is also being recorded, so you'll be able to view this online as well. We also have some training materials I'll show you in a second. And then we're going to walk through the different features that are available. So in our demonstration, we'll really spend our time focusing on an overview of your dashboard, which is the home page. You'll see why it's called the dashboard in a minute. Then we'll just speak to the provider information, which is almost the same as you now have in your lead system. And then again, we're going to spend most of our time today going through a renewal application transaction, just to show you what that looks like. As we go through the demo today, we have muted everyone just to make sure the sound works okay. But we do ask that if you have questions, that you type them in over on your GoToWebinar dashboard. You should see a little question section, kind of looks like this. You should just click on that question section and it will allow you to type in any questions that you have. And we're gonna get into answering as many of those as we can before we end at 8:30 this evening. All right, so please feel free to ask along. I'll remind you a couple more times, but that question feature is going to be available for you today. And again, we'll get to those. As for the other trainings, we are doing both group and school age and a residential and placement training, maybe an additional one added on there for group and school age, depending. But those are coming up next couple days and following week. And then you can see we have a few more family child care trainings coming up as well. We've got one in Portuguese tomorrow night, and then one more training on March 1st as well. Again, this is not the end of our trainings. This is just upcoming. Again, after our plans go live on March 21st, we will have some more for you as well. All right, so stick around. You'll keep getting communications about that. As for the training materials that I was alluding to, so we understand that this is a new system, right? It's a change. It's something different you've got to do. We're all learning it internally here at EEC as well. So we're all in this together. And we want to support you as much as we possibly can, which is why we have a bunch of different options available for you for training materials. So you will be getting a provider lead portal training guide, which is going to be a nice thick document. You can have it on the computer or print it out, and you'll be able to walk through step by step any of the transactions, applications, anything you want to understand about your portal is going to be available in this document with step-by-step instructions as well as screenshots. So we're still finalizing putting the system together for you. So those aren't going to be available right around until go live. But once we're live in the system, you will have that document for your disposal, and you can just find the section you need to, and that should help you along. Otherwise, we'll make these PowerPoint slide decks available for you as well to walk through, kind of remind you what we did today, and we've got some screenshots here in this slide deck as well. And as I mentioned, today is being recorded as well as all the other sessions, and we'll choose the best one in each language and put them up online for you. Could be a great opportunity to learn Spanish, Mandarin, or Portuguese if you want to listen to one of those trainings as well, directly translated. So you might be able to pick something up while you learn. And lastly, we're hoping to be able to put up, overpromise, but frequently asked question and answer document. Right? So some of these questions that come up for you, people have the same question, so we really want to make that available. So we should have that posted for you as well, either on the EEC website or hopefully right in your portal homepage is where we're hoping to put it. We do actually have this slide deck already available for you. So if you look at this image in the handout section, you can download this phase 3 presentation that we're going through. So that's yours right now if you'd like to download that. Again, any questions, please feel free to put them right in here in that question section, and we'll get to as many as we can before we wrap up today. All right. Great. All right, so before we dive into the demo, why are we doing that? Right, so why this new lead portal? So a couple main reasons. Ultimately, our goal is to help you continue to create safe, supportive environments for the children, right? That's our shared purpose. And within this portal, it's going to give you a few different ways to make your interactions with us and make sure that you are keeping up to code and up to date as seamlessly as possible. So one way is you're going to be able to do that is through the portal license dashboard, which is going to give you some really clear notifications and updates. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And then, as I was saying, you can really do most transactions and even communications with your licensor right through your provider portal. So we're really excited to save some trees, cut down on some paper, as well as make it easier for you to not miss any of the many details that you might need on a transaction. Like you'll see today, as we go through an application, it's going to prompt you to say, make sure you include this, we're going to need this, and you won't actually be able to submit the application until a lot of those required fields or documents are filled out or included. All right, so this system is just making it easy for you so you don't miss a line on a piece of paper. It's going to say, hey, make sure you fill this out as well. And again, if there's any challenges with that going forward, we're here to support you as things come up. So really a lot of this is going to be similar to what you're doing. We're really just going from paper to digital with a few additional features and changes. So just stick along with us. Again, you don't have to take everything in today, but we want you to feel comfortable once we do go live. So we really want to provide this opportunity for you. How's that sound, everybody? You along with me so far? All right, enough of the lead up here. You're ready to see the new system? So most of you already are in your provider portal in one way or another, right? But it's a really simple version. There's only so many options. So now, when you log in, and again, you're getting an email to let you know when it's live and how to log in there. And once you log in, it is going to look something like this. Hopefully, as we do, you find it a little more aesthetically pleasing, right? Some nice colors and a little clearer lineage of what's going on and where to navigate to. But this is basically what your portal is going to look like. So you're logged in as my classroom today, so welcome to Pete's Classroom. Again, quick disclaimer, this is a demonstration environment, right? So there's no actual real data in here. And, we haven't filled it out as completely as yours might be because this is just a staging environment. So it's not permanent. So but again, the idea is to really give you a sense of what it's going to look like. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So yours is going to look and feel almost exactly the same, but don't be too concerned with any nuances or strange little things. That's just the demonstration environment. All right. So as you look at the screen, what do you notice? What are the first things that pop up? So probably the first thing is these colors, right? Right up front, you've got your provider information and your license information. And these are going to be the two boxes that are front and center for you. Just give you your really simple provider name, status, and then your license status. And then underneath your license, it's going to tell you what type of license you have, your current capacity, and then your issue and expiration date, which are, of course, really important to note, right, with your license when it's coming up, which And instead of having to do the math and say, all right, July 1st, how many days do I have? When am I going to be getting my application? You'll see right here, it's got the days remaining of your license, as well as the days remaining before you can start your renewal transaction. All right, so pretty nice. You know, no math included, no calendar. You can just look and say, all right, got 125 days, and in 95 days, I can start a new transaction, which is what we're going to be doing later. 95 days, I'll be able to come in and start my renewal application. Right, so that's what that's telling you right there. And then again, over on the left over here, these are just kind of your simple boxes. Really today, we're going to spend all of our time here on a renewal transaction, but I will show you quickly the provider information. If we click here in the top left, it's going to be really similar to what you're looking at today. Right, so again, little added colors, but we're also going for simple, right? We don't need to add anything more than you need. So we've got your incident injury button is here, as well as your non-compliance corrective actions, just like it is now. And you'll just see this new licensing transaction button, which takes you to the same place that this button does from the home screen. It's the same button. We just gave you a little shortcut, just in case you're in your provider information. Let's say you're looking to check and make sure your info is correct, or scrolling down to see something else, then you can just click on that new license transaction button right from here if you want to. So just a little quick click for you. Otherwise, all of these fields, these lists down below are, again, very similar to what you have now. So it's just going to be all the information correlated with your provider program. And so all this information here. And it's going to continue to build as your licensor comes out and does more visits. See, my licensor hasn't been to Pete's classroom yet, so there's nothing in here, right? But yours will start to populate as visits occur, because this is completely linked with your licensor on their end, so you can really kind of see what each other's seeing. So again, visits are on there, incidents and injuries, any investigation that's happening. You can see your individual users. So right now it's just me. And here's a cool feature too, the last login. And this is something your portal is going to do a lot. The lead portal gives you kind of date and time stamps for when things occur. So for this one, it's simply logging in. But for other ones, it might say when someone took their last action or who is logged in. You can see assistance, anyone else allowed to log into your portal. All that kind of information is going to be right in here. So again, similar with a few added pieces of information for you. And then we do have a request to change button here for your FCC system. So for any reason you do need to make a change, that's what this button here is for. And like many other places here in your portal, that's going to go right to your licensor, and they'll be able to process that from there. All right, so pretty straightforward. Again, any questions, just going to point you over to that questions section in your GoToWebinar screen. But that is your provider page, so hopefully pretty similar. So now I could click over here on the top left, our nice Massachusetts emblem, or just click home. And that's going to get us right back to our dashboard. All right. So again, you've got a new incident injury button on the home screen as well, just like you have a new transaction button in the provider information. They're going to take you to the same places. You can even scroll over the question mark to clarify, wait, is that the same thing? Yep. Okay, I'm going to log a new self-reported answer injury. All right, that's what this is. So we have these little help texts for you in certain spots. But again, these are just kind of duplicate buttons from your provider information page. And then you can also add affiliated assistance here as well. So that's what it's going to do for you. All right. Now this is going to be a really important section. So before we go in and start our transaction, which we'll keep referencing back here, but on your dashboard are the different transactions that you either have in progress or have processed and completed. So this is 4 different tabs giving you a different status of whatever, whether it's a move or a name change, or as we'll do today, a renewal application. It's going to show you what status that transaction, that application that you've started is in. So as soon as you start and click save for any of them, it's going to be down here in a draft status. Most important thing to know with the draft, the unsubmitted, is that when you started one of these transactions, you can't start another one for most of them. It depends on which transaction, but you need to do one at a time and wait for that to go through every step until it's closed or start back over. And let me just show you kind of a screenshot of what I mean. So in this example, I've got an inactive application going right now, right? An inactive transaction, and a downgrade capacity. Right? So maybe someone's coming down the road, I'm going to need to make a change, so I've got both of these going on. So at this point, I could not start another inactive transaction or another downgrade capacity transaction. Right? I'm allowed to do both of these at once, but I couldn't do a second one unless I either clicked here and discarded that application to start over, or I have to finish filling it out so that it goes into submitted status, and now my licensor can start to work on that transaction. Right? And that's what that means. It's submitted, and actually, when it's in submitted status, that means there's still requirements. You know, it might be a document, a tax certification, a BRC form that you need to submit, but really, your licensor is not going to be working on it until it says in progress. So this third in progress tab is going to let you know your licensor has said, okay, I've got everything I need. I will start reviewing and processing this transaction. So again, when you're on a home screen, right now, I know I can start just about any transaction because I don't have any going. But when they're in progress or under review, you know, for this one, this is a GSA example, but I wouldn't be able to start another renewal until this renewal is processed. And obviously you wouldn't, right? But if you go, say, if you forget that you had started one or realize you want to make some changes, you can't do that once it's in progress or even, once it's under review or submitted. The only time you're going to be able to make a change is from draft status. And you're going to be able to click right here on that transaction. It'll open it back up, as we'll show you today. And then you can make changes. Or again, you can delete from here. But just know that if you go into your transaction button and say, hey, wait, how come I can't, start a downgrade capacity? First place to check, scroll down on your screen and look at, all right, do I have any in my tabs? Does that make sense for everybody? I know it's kind of new words, right? New terminology to get used to. But hopefully once you get started and you do a few transactions, it's going to be kind of second nature to you. Yeah, of course. So let me go in the system and check what I have. And, you can make decisions from here. For example, once an application has been submitted, depending on the type of transaction, so in this case, a renewal application, you have a couple of options to request a tax certification notification. So get that email that you will automatically be sent, but you could resend it, and I'll show you that later. And request your BRC form, and the all-important click to confirm that your check is in the mail. So we're going to ask you, once you've submitted a transaction, to let us know once you've sent the check, again, to help move your transaction along. Whew, all right, a lot of information. I understand. I get it. So, well, again, we're gonna be supporting you through this whole process. Right? There's a lot of different things we're going through here. Most important thing to know, when in doubt, go to your home screen and either check out your provider information, what's happened in the past, start a new transaction from scratch, or take a look at a transaction you have in progress right now. That make sense? The rest of the details and what we'll go through here, you're going to figure out. You're going to get it down as we go forward. But this, again, we just want to show you what this is going to look like. So this is your dashboard. All right, so without further ado, let's get in and start a new transaction. And this is also the point when I like to just call on Lynn in case there's anything to add. I certainly don't remember everything each time, so happy to call you in. How am I doing so far, Lynn? How are we looking?
You are doing great. You seem to have hit everything so far.
Wow. All right, gold star. Gold star. We'll see how it goes. Gold star. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to, as usual, Lynn, I'm going to keep pausing as I go through the renewal transaction. So just chime in. I'm going to leave some space. So or cut me off. I don't get offended. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. So now we're in that new transaction button. Sorry, I didn't talk you through it, everybody. So one more time, right? So I'm on our homepage. I click new transaction over on the left. There's also that button in your provider information. And here I can see, based on the type of provider I am and based on what I have, in progress right now, I will see the different transactions that are available for me to start. Right? So there's a whole bunch. I don't need to go through them all with you right now. You'll be able to read them and you'll know what you need to do. The most important thing to know is, all right, when I need to submit something or communicate with EEC, first thing to do is come to this licensing transaction page and see, can I submit this through the portal? And as you can see, the likelihood is yes. right? For right now, for this example, we have 9 different types of transactions that we can do here through your portal. All the way from the renewal, which we'll do today, applying for an upgrade, a change of address, change of licensed room, notifying us of household members. This is really important to keep that up to date. Reissuance of your license for any reason, all the way through, inactive certificate, intent to close, or apply for a change in provider name. This is all going to be on here for you. So today, because again, we don't have any renewal in progress, we haven't started yet, we are going to apply for a renewal. I'm going to click here on the apply for renewal button, and it's going to start off just like your paper application does with a nice instruction page. Right, so it's really important to read through this before you get started. It's going to tell you what the fee is, going to tell you what some of the requirements are in case you need to make sure you've got emails for everyone who's going to need a background check or a BRC form, whatever information you might need. So make sure you go through this. We've even got a link to our website and all the information you'll need depending on whatever transaction you have started. This is what we've got in here right now for family child care renewal. All right, so there's your instruction page. A couple things you'll notice. We've got a tracker here on the right to see what step you're at the process and know how much further you go. All right, so you can see we've got about 9 or 10 steps in this renewal transaction. Now, if I try to click here, nothing's going to happen. Right, so I can't go forward until I've completed the page that I'm on. But once I have saved and moved on to the next page, I can always go back and make any changes before I've submitted the transaction. Make sense? So I'll show you that in a minute, but these are going to turn green once you've done it, and then we can now toggle back and forth. So down at the bottom, I'm just going to click next, and here's where you could close, right? This wouldn't save or anything. If I were to close this, then I could go start another one later. But I think I've got everything I need, so I'm going to click next, and we're going to go on to our transaction and provider information page. One great feature of the portal is you're going to have to do less typing or handwriting as you were before. So you can see in this example, portal is smart enough to already bring over some of my information here into the application. I don't need to write what my license capacity is. That is what it is, right? I can apply for a change, right? So I could say, all right, I'd like to have 8, instead of 6. One thing to know is that's going to then require potentially some additional attachments or documentation once I get later on down here in the application. Every selection that I make has the potential to include, new required fields. Again, this is there to help both you and us make sure you submit everything that's required and allow us to process your transaction as quickly as possible. Just a great feature of that. And again, you're not going to need to type anything that you don't need to right now. Of course, if there's any discrepancy or something is wrong with your provider information, please reach out to your licensor, let them know so they can change that, make sure that's all correct. All right, so as we scroll down here on this page, now here's some of the things I can change if my email address is updated. This is going to be a really important email address, right? Because this is where my BRC form, my tax certification are going to come, and I'll show you those emails once we're done. But really important to have this information correct, as well as your language, your qualification number. So I'm just going to put in some numbers right now, but you're going to want to make sure you put in your accurate data here, right? So your professional qualification expiration date. I just got licensed, so I'm good for the next year or so here. All right. Fill out the rest of the information. And down at the bottom, you're going to see most pages have these 4 options for you. So you're either going to be able to go back to your previous button, close out, and just go back to your dashboard, your portal home screen there. If you're going to do either of those, we highly recommend that you click Save first, because whatever you put in on this page, which right now is really, I've only changed one thing, right? The rest of it populated for me. It's going to be more important down the road after you've answered a bunch of questions or put in information. Before you do anything, even if you go back or anything like that, you do want to click Save to make sure whatever you've put in does save here on the screen for you. And it'll just reload, you'll be here, but now I could close out of the tab if I wanted to, go back to the instruction page. And you see how it's green check marks here, so I could go back. We just want to make sure you do click Save. Or if you're ready to keep going and you want to go on to the next page, it's simple as clicking Save and Next. Making sense to everybody so far? Pretty straightforward? Awesome, I'll take that as a resounding yes. Again, one other reminder, please type any questions in that you have. We're happy to get to those just a little bit here. All right, so for household members and individuals regularly on the premise, again, something you've been having to track. We're just going to now be doing it here digitally on the application. And as simple as clicking on add a household member right here. So it's the first thing we're going to do. Click add a household member, and it's got all the fields you need. One thing I haven't pointed out yet, you may know from using other things on the internet, pretty common, but this red asterisk means that this field is required. Right? So anything that has an asterisk, you've got to put some piece of information in there. So for this role, we'll say this is a household member. Just make up a name. You would put in the birth date of that person, make sure they're of age. Well, actually, it doesn't matter, right? Anyone who's going to be on the premises, you do want to put in here. So it'll just let us know what their age is. Put in their email address. If it is someone younger who does not have an email, you can put in your own email address. You will be emailed the BRC form, and then we're just going to ask you to have that person work on it with you as you fill it out. Let's see how that works. The effective date is the first date this person's on the premises. Likely will be the first day of your license. But if it's a college student and you know they're not going to be home until some certain date, you can put that on there. We do get that question with a college student a lot. And really, if that person's going to college, but their primary residence is still your home, we ask that you just put them on as a household member or person regularly on the premise, either way, for the duration of your license. Because they may come home, you never know when they're going to need to do laundry, whatever it might be. So just have them in there for the whole span of the license, all right? And when I say have them on there, meaning put the effective date, and then this term date, we might change this terminology for you, but term just means termination. And this date is just for if that person will be moving out or leaving, or do you know for certain that they won't be on the premises after a certain date. Most of the time, this will be the last day of your license, or I'm guessing often, and it's not actually a required field. So if you don't know, if it's unsure or indefinite, feel free to just leave that blank for now. And as you may have noticed in that transactions page, there is a way to update and let us know, all right, this person's no longer here. Okay. But for now, if you know it, put it in there. And then we've just got, the relationship to that person and average number of hours home during a 24-hour day, or whatever that might be. Just do your best to estimate that. All right, so once I put everything in, I'll click save, and let me just show you, so the number of hours, that's a required field. If I try and click save right now, the system is not going to let me move forward. Either I can close out, or I have to put a number in here in order to save those changes. The same thing applies down at the bottom. So let's say I didn't put in any household members. I try and click save and next. That's not going to let me go forward, right? Because I need to have something in there. And actually, with household members, you may not have any, right? If it's just you at home, that's understandable. But certain fields are not going to let you go forward until you put in that required info. One thing to notice down here, in lieu of a signature, so on your BRC form, you'll see it will actually take you somewhere to create an electronic signature. Same with your tax certification. But for the fields within this application, you can actually just click the checkbox to legally kind of sign and say you've renewed that these household members are regularly on the premises. This is accurate. That checkbox means you don't have to sign anything. Pretty nice, right? So now I could go ahead and add any other members. Maybe you got a big family, you keep adding them on there. Once they're all in, again, you've got the same options down below, but you definitely, if you put somebody in there, you want to click save or save and next, as we will now. All right. So we're getting there, almost halfway through. We're on our licensing status and capacity. And again, a lot of standard questions that you've had before. The biggest change for these questions is, if you're providing evening, overnight, or weekend care and you say no, okay, that's fine, right? No problem. You'll see this is a required field. You've got to answer it. But if you click yes, we're now going to ask you to give us more information about that question. okay? So with many of the fields, when you click yes, that's going to ask, all right, we're going to need more information, and you'll notice that information is required. So if you're going to, any of your children are homeschooled, you're going to say yes. We're going to ask you to describe as much detail as you can, the age and how often, or whatever information is going to be pertinent, but we're going to ask you put something in there to let us know what's going on with that situation. Again, so here's an example. If I'm approved for foster care, I'll describe that, and that is likely going to require that I add an attachment later on here to prove, to show that I am qualified for foster care. So just note that you're going to need to have that documentation available for anything that does require it. Make sense? All right, so just to speed it up when we get to the end, I am going to stick with no on each of these, but again, we ask you to take your time and be accurate. The more information you give us now, the quicker your application is going to move through and be, reissue your license. So take your time. And again, if you don't have any of the information, just click save here. This application will then go into that draft status, right? And you'll be able to come right back and click on it as soon as you need to, and come back in, enter that information. All right. Okay, so let's click save, and next we're going to go on to our background information. So again, just some standard questions here, most of which we've been asking in the past, within the last 3 years, any serious injuries, any ever arrests or charged with crime, all these standard questions for you. Have you or a household member, any had, DSS, anything like that? Just click yes or no. Another great example, if I do click yes, I'm going to ask you to give us some more information. I want you to fill that out. But if the answer is no, that's all you've got to give us. So it keeps it simple. There's not some box that you're not sure if you need to fill out or not after you've checked no. So try and make it as clear as possible. Again, pretty standard page, just going through, reading each question, answering it accurately, and then either clicking save or save and next. Get through to your next section. All right, how are we doing, everybody? You still there? All right, if you're looking at your text on your cell phone, I'm just going to ask you to come back and join us for a minute. We're almost done, all right? It's only going to help you when you've got to do it yourself soon. And again, this is all stuff you've been doing. We're just really going from paper to your computer screen, right? So it's looking a little different. Things might change a little bit, but in general, once you're used to this, it's just going to make it easier for everybody, make things go a little faster. So one of our last pages here is your training information, right? Some important stuff here, and we will keep on yes for some of these. Don't belong to a food program, but of course, I've taken my reducing risk of SIDS training, right? In fact, I just took it last week. We'll put that on there. And that, of course, is going to ask me for documentation to show that I've been. If I'm asking for a capacity increase, and then, of course, my CPR and first aid training, right? Got to make sure we've had those. Big week last week, got all mine done, put those in. And see, this is nice. As soon as you click on that date field, it gives you a little calendar. You can kind of click backward or forward to see. Obviously, you didn't do this training in the future, so it's got to be either today or previous for each one of those. And then just a couple more questions. If you've completed your 30 hours, and if 1/3 of those were addressed diverse learners. So that's all the questions on your training page. Great. So once we've got all that filled out, we're going to once again click save and next. Hopefully you're at least getting comfortable with that button, right? That's what we're doing each time. As far as the indoor-outdoor space, pretty simple right now. Again, these might change a little bit. We're still going through the process of making sure that we're putting everything on here that we need to without putting any more than we have to for you, right? So just trying to find that balance. We've got to make sure we're sticking with the laws to help you do the same. So right now we're just kind of asking if there's any space changes, and then what your water supply, where that's coming from. Again, maybe some added questions on there. You'll see them if they do. All right. So now we're going to go on to kind of the bread and butter, right? We're going to add our attachments. This is our second to last page, as you can see, walking through here on our different transaction steps. And as I mentioned, the required documentation based on how I filled out this application is now listed here on this application page. So a few things to pay attention to with the attachments. You can kind of click on the name of that document, and it's going to give you an option to email your licensor if you need to for any reason. So this is a great spot right here from within your transaction. You can reach out to your licensor if you have some question, hey, do I need to have a PDF document of this, or can I mail it in? And the answer is please scan it and attach it, or take a picture of some sort, right, and get it here on the computer, because we want all this to be saved up in the system as well. If it does have to come into us, we're just going to need to do the same thing. Save, upload, scan it, and upload it here. So we ask that you do that for each document. Once you're ready to upload it, you're just simply going to click this paperclip and click view and upload your document. And you can see now I haven't submitted any of those documents because they all say unsubmitted under the status, right? So if I click the paperclip, you've probably done something similar. It's going to be a little bit different, but we've got the document name, which you could change. In this case, we definitely don't recommend that. This is what we're asking for, so just keep that the same. If you know for sure the expiration date, that's a great thing to put on here. So if we want to go into next year and say, yep, I know this goes till March 1st of next year, perfect, really helpful. If you don't know it, you'll see it's not a required field. So helpful if you know it, but don't worry about it if you don't. You don't have to put it in there. And then we also have an option to select an attachment. So just normal system, right? So again, you may have done something like this before. We are simply going to click on the select attachment button. That's going to bring up some documents, and I'll put my receipt on there and just upload that attachment. So there's two steps here. So this is something to really pay attention to. So I selected the attachment from my computer, which you've probably done before with an email or some other system, right? Two steps after that, though. So I've selected it. Now, if I just close out of here, that document's not going to be saved, right? It's not going to show up. So I first need to click upload. As you'll see right here, it'll let you know that it's doing it. And then luckily it does have a nice little reminder here. Please click save after uploading your document. And the reason we have that is because you might have multiple documents that you need to attach based on this particular area. So your SIDS training, you might have gotten 2 different documents. So now you're going to want to select an attachment, add the second one, click upload. And then once you're done, the last step is to click save. We do have some little information here for you. You can read through this when you're doing it. But if I click save for this one document, you'll see my status is now changed to submitted. And if I click on the document name again, it may show up there for you as well. Look like it's in there right now. It's all right. It will pop up. So you should be able, it's because it's actually back in here. So if I click on the view and update button, I can come back in and view that document if I need to. Like, wait, did I upload the right one? Or anything you need to take care of, that's going to be there for you as well. Now we do need to do that for our next 2 documents. So I'm just going to go through it quickly for you just so we can keep moving. And you're going to upload that document you selected and then click save to get it attached to your renewal application. Making sense for everybody? Any questions you have, please feel free to put them over in your question and answer section as we finish up with our attachments right here. So now I did ask for an upgrade, right, a capacity upgrade in my application earlier. So if I have that documentation, it's great to do it right with the application. You can see here on the home page, it's not the attachments page, it's not a required attachment. So I'm not going to be able to move forward and submit my application until I select these 3 files from my computer. Select the right one. Right? And again, if you do submit an incorrect document or just a picture of your cat and submit it into us, your licensor is going to review it and see that, and you're going to have to go back and forth again. So just please pay attention to detail and make sure you've got the right documents going up there. But if, let's say, I didn't have any documentation for my upgrade capacity right now for that training, that's okay. I'm still going to be able to click next and submit my application, and I'll be able to submit that at a later time. That's okay. So we'll be split up into the required and then the additional. Again, the more you do up front, the quicker your application is going to get processed. So this is another situation where you're kind of welcome to come back to this at another time. But for right now, I've got everything attached. I'm ready to go with my application. Click next and head over to our review and submission page. So this page is going to show all of the information that I've now put into my application. All those things are just going to be on one page. Another great opportunity to just go through and make sure you've answered everything accurately. If anything's missed, we're going to have to come back and go back and forth with you. So we'd rather, just like you'd rather get it through right away, so would we. So we'd ask that you really carefully look through this. Here's an example of, oh, you know what? I realized I have one other household member. I forgot to put my wife on there. All right. So right from this page, I can then click on this household member's green checkbox. It'll bring me right back to the household members page. I could click on that and add another person in here. All right, so really easy to toggle back after you've gone through some of your application. And then once I've finished, again, really important to click save. And then I can go back to that review page and say, okay, now I've added that extra person. Scroll down and make sure everything's correct. And then here, again, instead of signing this particular part of the application, you can just click here to acknowledge you've read and understood and you've answered it, to the fullest of your ability. And this is, again, legally binding, just like a signature. How's that feel, everybody? We've done our application in record time, right? Just click through, got it all the information we need to. So from here, all I need to do, click agree and submit. And we have now gone into submitted status with our renewal. Not too bad, right? Pretty simple to go through. So now, to show you again, so let's say I was up late doing my renewal last night, completely forget that I had started it, and I go in tomorrow morning, say, oh, right, I still got to do my renewal. I click on new transactions. So I'm going to do my renewal, and what's happened? Remember, there were 9 here yesterday. Now there's only 5 transactions I can do. Why is that? So who remembers what's going on here? Yes, exactly. I'm sure a bunch of you said it, right? Because I've already started that application, that renewal application, these are the only other transactions I could have going on at the same time, right? And even most of these probably don't make sense. You're not going to submit an intent to close as you submit to renew, right? So that's not going to be, but we leave them up there. There might be a circumstance. But the other transactions that were available, you cannot do right now because you have an application that's currently being processed. So how do I see that? How do I know there's an application going on right now? Who remembers? Right down here. So if you're on your dashboard, you scroll down a little bit, now you can see the licensing transactions that you've got going on. So if I had just clicked save, just like in this example, it would be here in my unsubmitted status, right? This transaction. So I'd be able to click on it and go back into it. However, because I submitted it, I can click on that transaction and view it. Let's try it out here. But I cannot actually make any changes because this has been submitted. Right? So I can go in and look at it and toggle back. And actually maybe that first step, depending, you might be able to add some additional documents, that sort of thing. But you cannot start a new application from here. Right? You cannot start a new transaction because this is it. So you either need to make whatever changes you need to, or this is where now we have some added links. Right? So from here we can just delete this, right? Discard the application, start back over. Still an option for you. Or let's say you didn't get the emails you should, and this would be a good time to cover those with you. So we've got a couple different forms that are required before your licensor can even start working on it, right? Which is the under review tab here. So we need to make sure you filled out your tax certification, your BRC, and that you've sent in your fee. And we really won't start processing your application until we've received that check. One question we have gotten to is for automatic payments online. That is coming down the road. It's not available yet, So right now we still are asking for a check or money or whatever it might be, but just so you know, we are hoping you'll be able to pay online here within the next year or so. But in the meantime, in order for I really want my transaction to start to be processed, right, to be under review. So I would go to my email and look for these couple of forms. The first form we're going to look for is our tax ID certification. So this is basically what your email is going to look like. It's going to have your transaction number, which is going to be the same number you see here, right? That transaction ID, important number for you to pay attention to. Same number we're going to ask you to write on your check before you send it in, all right? It's going to be your transaction number, or your license number will probably work too, but something on your check to let us know this is what this check is for, this payment is for. So it does show you the second bullet here is your application fee, right? So in this instance, just $100. And we're going to spell that out for you, that we're going to ask you to add. At the very least, you can print out the email and just send it in with the check, or you could print out the email and just tear this off or cut this off the bottom. The basic information, it'll have your name. This is just Family Care, but it'll have your provider number, the transaction number that we're doing right now, and then the amount that is due for that application. So that's going to be right at the very bottom of this email. Above that is your tax certification statement signature. So we're kind of to walk you through it right here. So you're required to fill out this tax ID, and we're giving you right in the email a nice handy link. So you're just going to click on this link. It's going to take you to another website. It'll walk you right through your tax ID online. You'll click through, add a digital signature, and click save. It'll be as simple as possible for you to fill out. And then as soon as you save it, you'll be able to save or download that document yourself if you'd like to. But as soon as you've processed it, it's now going to be sent right into your licensor with your application. Nice automatic system there. Again, no paper needs to be signed. It's going to all be done online. But you can save that tax ID statement. You can save it or print it out, whatever you'd like to do. That makes sense, everybody? Am I still hitting everything, Lynn? It just feels unlikely. It's just maybe we've already done it too many times, I guess. It's the reality.
No, you are. You're on a roll. Keep going.
All right. Monday night. Don't be on my Friday evening trainings, guys. It's not going to go well. All right. So on to our BRC form. So the next email, you and any of your household members, or you'll get many, like I said, if you put in your own email address, is an email for your BRC form, right? So we require everyone to go through a background check before being licensed or being a household member. And just like that tax certification email, we're going to give you a handy dandy link. You're just going to click on that link, and it's going to take you to, again, the website's called DocuSign. It's just a email document signature website. Again, it's going to be very simple. Once you've gone through it once, it's going to be even easier. It'll save your signature for you. And you're just going to click through, fill out that BRC form. And again, you can then save it, print it out, and it's going to automatically be sent into your licensor with your application. So a couple of emails to watch out for right after you submit your renewal application in this case, right, which we're all going to be doing at one point or another. So that's your BRC email. Again, one last time, I just want to touch on, printing out that tax ID email, writing that transaction number on the check if you can, at least putting this in the envelope with it, and then coming over to your lead portal page, clicking on that in progress tab, that submitted tab, and then hitting click to confirm that the application fee is mailed. But once you've put that check in the mail, I'm going to ask you just let us know, and this will let us know to keep a lookout for it. And so it'd be really helpful if you don't mind doing that for us. We'd appreciate it. Once you've done that, right, you've filled out your tax ID or BRC, sent in the check. Now it's on your licensor. Now we're going to get that through as quickly as we can, and we will be able to keep in touch right here through the portal. Right, so we'll be sending emails, but we can also do a lot right here through your portal. And as soon as your license is issued, you will see your dashboard update. Right, so this days remaining will change to the maximum amount from your new issuance date, and then we'll have your expiration date on there as well. And chances are your countdown timer here won't really start until you get a little bit closer, right? So it's not going to say negative 365 days, whatever it may be. But as you get close, it'll start to let you know. All right, here's how many days you got left. All right, so is everybody an expert now? You know how to use your portal, no problem. You're going to be a cinch. All right, again, not the expectation. It's all right. Hopefully you're feeling pretty good about it. Again, our goal is just to be intuitive, make it as easy for you to go through as possible. You've got a couple different options to find the buttons you need to. But in general, this is going to be your new home and way to connect with us really simply and quickly here at the EEC.